Arkham, Lego, Retro. Batman has had so many great games over the years, but what else is left to play? Welcome to the final part of the Batman Games Guide. I'll be going over all of the other Batman games we haven't covered yet. If you haven't seen any of the previous videos, make sure to check them out. I covered Retro, Lego, and Arkham Batman. We have some fun games to look into today, so let's get started. Despite my hatred of vehicle missions in Batman games, the 2013 Batman arcade cabinet actually looks really fun. I like racing games at arcades. They're just more fun when you get the full wheel and you're racing with friends right next to you. Unfortunately, there's not an arcade near me that has this, so I did not have a chance to try it out, but I tried to research locations and I couldn't find any specific lists. If you happen to have one near you, it might be fun to try out. If not, I think there might be some ways to emulate it online if you really want to try playing it. Injustice: Gods Among Us is a DC fighting game. Batman is not the main focus, but he's still a central character, which is why I decided to include this one. You'll be playing as him in the tutorial and the first chapter of the story mode. The story of Injustice is about the main Justice League getting teleported into an alternate reality where Superman turned evil. I won't say much more than that to avoid spoilers. It's a cool story mode with an interesting concept. It honestly made me want to look into the comics that the game is based on. The gameplay is like most fighting games with a bunch of attacks and combos that are different for each character. Now, a word of warning, I am not good at fighting games. I won't be able to be much help when it comes to movesets and fighting tech. I can, however, tell you what not to do so that you can learn from my mistakes. First off, do not, I repeat, do not get the PC version of this game. It's a lot easier on controller, and despite it originally being made for console, the PC port apparently has no clue what a controller is. When I played the tutorial with my PS4 controller plugged in, it didn't know the buttons. It shows numbers instead of shapes. So I had to guess which button did what. On top of that, I just got really unlucky with my controller. I've had it for years, and it decided on that day when I booted up the game it wanted to have horrible stick drift, so I ended up just giving up on the controller and unplugging it. However, this meant when I continued on to the game, I had learned the tutorial with the controller and not the keyboard, so now I didn't know what buttons did anything. Rather than do what any sane person would do and look up the tutorial or try to figure it out, I just brute forced my way through the game. I hit every button on my keyboard until whoever I was fighting died. The main mechanic that stood out to me was this little gambling bit where you click an attack to bet on what will overpower your opponent's gambled attack. My luck managed to keep me alive for most of these. I ended up getting killed by the Joker because I think the game expected me to gain some skill by then, so make sure to get a console version and learn what at least some of your buttons do. It will make your life a whole lot easier, trust me. There's technically an online multiplayer mode, but I tried every version. No one plays it, so unless you want to do a private match or local co-op, you are out of luck. There are a lot of things you can collect: concept art, costumes, decorations for a profile card that you can make for yourself. You can unlock a lot of character costumes and some abilities through these gambling boxes that you can earn, something to collect if you end up playing the game a lot. Injustice is available on PS3, PS4, Wii U, Xbox 360, PS Vita, PC Mobile, and Arcade. Injustice 2. I felt immediately more hooked when I started the game. It takes place 5 years after the events of the first game. You can enjoy it on its own without playing the previous game, but experiencing the first Injustice helps to enhance the overall experience. Supergirl is the main character of this game, and it starts with her origin story, which makes for such a great intro. You'll still be swapping between all of the different DC characters as you play through it. The important part is that you will once again start the game as Batman in a flashback. You'll do some fights that show you previous events, and then see what Bruce Wayne is up to currently before switching to other characters. It is still a fighting game, but the good news is that the PC port is much better now. If you use an Xbox controller, you'll have no problems, but if you use PlayStation like me, you'll have to adjust to it showing you Xbox buttons. It's an adjustment, but it makes more sense than just 1, 2, 3, 4 being on the screen. I also switched to my PS5 controller to avoid the stick drift I had. The fighting feels a bit more fun now that I have a working controller and port for this game. I'm sure the previous Injustice would also be fun if I played on console, but I am taking the improvements I can get right now. One small selling point for me personally was that I got my hands on a DLC bundle with the game on sale, and this bundle included Red Hood as a playable character. Now, he's not featured in the main story outside of a small name drop, but I liked that I can play him. His design also looks great. It's worth it for me just for the small bit of Red Hood content I can get my hands on. Like the previous entry, this game also has some extras. The Versus Online mode actually still has some players. I got my ass kicked by a dude named Batman who was playing Batman. Unfortunately, canon, for Red Hood, who I was playing as. The King of the Hill mode did not have any players show up, so Versus is the only online mode where you can have a chance of finding someone online. The other extra mode was Brother Eye. It's a single player mode where there are a bunch of fighting levels and a good way to earn some loot boxes if you want more character customization. I was very entertained by the Clown Killer 9000 guns I got for Jason. I equipped that ASAP. If you like DC and fighting games, I highly recommend checking this one out. I personally enjoyed it more than the first game. It's available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Batman, the Telltale series, is very similar to other Telltale games, except that it's Batman. When you start it up, you'll get to pick between Classic and Shadow. Shadows is a noir version with some occasional color. Unless you want the game to look like that, I recommend just picking Classic. The main gameplay is the decisions that you make. You'll have timed options at certain points. There are usually 3 choices, and the option to stay silent. These will affect characters' opinions of you and how they will interact with you in scenes. It will also affect what endings you get. The other major mechanic is QTEs. During the fight scenes, you'll have a lot of these. It will slow down though, so just keep an eye out for what buttons you need to press and you'll be fine. The only different QT is when you have to point towards a circle and click it to shoot either your grappling hook or a batarang. In certain places, you'll be able to walk around and explore. In the Batcave, your Bat computer will let you look at articles and a codex explaining characters and locations. It's great info if you want to learn a bit more. Outside of that, I found there are certain areas where you can interact, but nothing really happens. I walked up to some graffiti and he just looked sad. That was all that happened. I mean, I guess it was implying how sad he was about the park being ruined, which is fair, but it just didn't feel like it was worth being an interactable object. Explore these areas if you want, but don't feel too pressured to look at everything. You'll also be investigating in classic Batman fashion. You'll explore a crime scene and then you link up the evidence that connects to each other. Once you've connected all the dots, you can recreate the crime to figure out what happened. It's a fun mechanic that fits in really well. The plot of this game is very enjoyable and I highly recommend it. A lot of it reminded me of the Batman movie. Check it out, especially if you are a fan of narrative-heavy games. It's available on PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Switch, mobile, and PC. The Enemy Within is the direct sequel to the first Telltale Batman. I highly recommend playing that before you start this game. The gameplay doesn't really change much, so I won't be going into it. If you've played and enjoyed the first Telltale Batman, then I do recommend checking out The Enemy Within. It's available on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and mobile. Gotham Knights. While you technically don't play as Batman in this game, I wanted to talk about it because it's one of the few games with a focus on the Bat family. I got this game mainly because I get to play as Red Hood. The main premise is that Batman has passed away and the Bat family must solve the case he left behind for them. Honestly, the story didn't really draw me in like the Arkham games did, but it's a decent plot. You'll get to pick who you want to play as at the start of the game. You can be Nightwing, Red Hood, Robin, or Batgirl. You can switch between these characters at the Belfry Tower, so don't worry about being stuck as the same character once you pick. Your levels will also carry over whenever you switch characters. Being able to switch helps to make up for the lack of save slots. There's only one save file and it auto-saves. For a game with multiple characters, where I'm pretty sure there's variations in the cutscenes depending on who you pick, you would really think that there would be multiple save files, but I guess not. While the weapons you'll be using for each character are different, the mechanics are the same for all of them. You'll have a close range fighting attack and a long range attack. For example, Red Hood will fight up close with his fists and use his guns at a distance. You can use light attacks by tapping the button and heavy attacks by holding it. You'll also be able to unlock abilities that give you more combat options as you level up. If you're worried about difficulty, you get 4 options at the start of the game. Very easy, easy, normal, and hard. I can confirm that very easy is extremely easy, so if you want zero stress while you play, then pick that option. And if you want more of a challenge, you can move up the difficulties. Stealth attacks are also included. You can sneak up and do a silent takedown or a louder one. The stealth sections can be a bit of a struggle. You kinda just sneak behind enemies in different cover. It's not terrible, and I hate to keep comparing it to Arkham, but Arkham's stealth is just way better in comparison. The movement is also very janky. It doesn't go as smoothly when you're jumping above, and it can make it easier to get spotted by enemies. Traversing in the open world is a bit better. The grapple gun can zip you to most places, and each character has a special ability that lets you move around a bit easier. There's also a motorcycle that you can use to drive around. I liked the idea of having patrols each night. When you go out, you'll be able to see all of the crime, and you collect clues every time you fight people, which can lead to you finding out crime before it happens. It really gives like an average night for what the Bat family would usually be dealing with. There's also a co-op mode that I think would make these patrol sections more fun. I do wish the investigations let you do more than just collecting points depending on how many guys you beat up. In the main missions, you do get to do some actual investigating. You get to look at different areas and you have to connect two objects to each other, but it's more trial and error than investigating, but at least it's something. Overall, it's not a bad game, but it's not a great game either. I do recommend it if you are a big fan of any of these characters and want a chance to play as them. Even with its issues, I still enjoyed getting to play as Red Hood, though he needs to keep the mask on. Who is your barber, Jason? What is the obsession with giving these characters the worst haircuts? Grab it on sale if you want to play it. It is still one of the very few Bat family focused games. It's available on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. The final Batman game is Batman Caped Crusader Chronicles. It's a mystery game exclusive to Amazon Luna. You can play it if you have Amazon Prime. I wasn't even aware that Amazon had a gaming service until I happened to see this game pop up on my TikTok. From some of the gameplay I found, it looks like a bunch of minigames and stories relating to the Caped Crusader cartoon. If you have a Prime subscription, check it out if you want, but I wouldn't be getting Prime just to play this game. That concludes the Batman games guide. Wow, this took me a while to get through. There are so many games for this man. Let me know in the comments below what game series you'd like to see me cover next. I'm thinking of doing the Remedyverse, but I'll probably put a vote up on my channel in the near future. Like and subscribe for more content like this. Your support means a lot, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye!